Welcome back and welcome to our Community Corner. Joining us this morning is Ken Godbolt. He is an author and also works as a life coach with the Peoria Community Against Violence. And he's here to talk about his new book that I have right here and also talk about what PCAV is doing to help kids dealing with trauma. Thank you for coming in this morning, Ken.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So first let's talk about what PCAV is doing these days. So what is that organization? Who does it benefit?
Okay. So right now I'm currently working for Peoria Community Against Violence, and what we actually get an opportunity to do is serve the families who are affected by violence, gun violence, and so with that comes trauma.
Right.
And so we're able to help families deal with the trauma that they're going through by helping provide counseling, being able to help them with other resources as far as jobs, so that way that they can help get their family back on track.
Absolutely. And about how many families are you serving right now?
Oh man, right now we're serving over 300 families.
Wow. Yeah. And are they all in Central Illinois?
All in Central Illinois, yes.
Wow.
All in the Peoria area.
So that's a big problem, right?
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah, yeah. And I know that you were a part of our special report on violence just a few days ago. What can you tell us about the prevalence of violence and what it looks like and how it manifests in this community?
Yeah, I think when you think about the violence in our community and the things that are going on right now, you have to understand that there's an underlying issue.
Right.
You know, most of the time when we're dealing with things, we like to look at the reaction. So the violence is just an outcry of what's going on deeper in the people within those communities. So.
Right, right. That's powerful that you talk about the underlying issues, and it's always more than meets the eye.
Oh yeah. I often tell people I'm not really moved by the violence. Because I understand that if you have issues that are not dealt with, then that's going to be something that transpires. So the more that we help people heal internally, we'll begin to see the violence decrease in our communities.
Absolutely. Healing is such an important part of that process. And what are some of the ways that you're helping kids especially heal? Oh,
especially with youth, being an African-American man and being able to talk about mental health, as I went through that myself from the trauma that I faced as a kid, giving them an outlet, allowing them to know that, man, it's okay not to be okay, but you don't need to stay at a place where you're not okay. Like there's help out there, there's resources that you can use to tap in to help you overcome whatever it is you're facing. Absolutely.
And do you serve kids of all ages, or is there a certain age group?
Oh man, I like kids from all ages. Yeah, because trauma happens at various different ages.
Right.
Right. So when I'm traveling, speaking, I'm in schools. A lot of times I'm in middle and high schools, and this is the first time that they've ever had an opportunity to express themselves.
Right. Right. That's important to give them that outlet, because that's just such a big thing when it comes to healing. Just being able to sit down and talk and have conversations.
Yeah. And then letting people know that it is, no matter what you've gone through in life, like there's nothing in life that you can't overcome.
Right.
So that's the key point to really begin to teach.
Right. That's beautiful. Very beautiful. And let's talk about your book, Pain, Trauma, and Suicide, How I Overcame. Can you tell us about this book and tell us about your story? Yeah, so that book really tells my story, and it starts from being a 5-year-old kid. I was locked in a room. My mom's boyfriend attempted to set us on fire. And so that was my first time ever facing trauma. Fast forward a couple years later, I was sexually abused. And so I had nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, and so I was left to deal with that trauma. And so I acted out via gang violence, doing the things that we see a lot of juveniles doing today. Right. And it was when I was led to a place to be able to find that healing. And so when I found that healing, I said, you know what, I didn't want to keep that to myself. Right. And so I wrote the book. And the book tells my story of how I went from the darkest place to where I am now, because now my pain, my trauma it's still there, but I overcame it, and now I control my pain and my trauma, and I want other people to be able to have that as well. Absolutely. That is powerful, and I'm sure this will help people out there.
It'll help a lot of people, man.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm so glad you wrote this book, and I'm so glad to see that you're doing what you're doing and helping other people overcome some of the similar traumas that you went through, and as you said, there's nothing we can't overcome.
That's right.
So thank you so much for coming in, Ken.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, come back anytime.
All right, thank you.
All right, and we'll be right back with more good news and weather. Stick with us.